there are 100,000 people that are currently incarcerated inside of cells that are no bigger than the average size parking lot. Here in our very own backyard, there are at least 5,000 people that are currently being held inside these cells. For myself, I survived a total of 3 years in solitary confinement, and the cell is probably exactly the same size as the cell directly behind me, dealing and having to go to sleep with some of the same noises that you hear inside that cell. There were times when, during the summer, the cell would get so hot that you can actually feel the wall sweat. The cell sometimes will get so quiet that you can actually hear your heartbeat sometimes. Sometimes it will get so loud that you have to really go to sleep to the cacophony of the sound of other men crying, screaming, yelling.
Welcome to the Gilchrist experience. As you see, Johnny Perez has been on the show, and we're exposing you to what solitary confinement is about. We have on the show today Akeem Browder, the brother of Kalief Browder, who committed suicide at 22 years old, after 3 years in 21? He's 21. Wow.
After 3 years of
After 3 years of Rikers Island. And half of that time he spent in solitary confinement.
More than half, 2 years.
More than 2 years out of the 3. In that sort of environment. Now this is a 16-year-old, right?
Yeah, 16 when he was taken.
So that's madness. Now we just got a little 2-minute taste of it. Johnny had been in there, but he was a grown man. Well, how does this affect a youngster accused of doing what? Stealing a backpack.
Accused is the main word. And it's significant because it's a backpack.
Yeah.
A backpack can get you 3 years in jail, not guilty, and then released without any help, without any medical or psychological backup to come into the community and re-enter into the community.
So this is affecting a youngster. We can imagine what it does to the adults that go through it. But you're here to tell your brother's story. Welcome to the show, Akeem Browder. Welcome.
Thank you, my
Welcome
brother.
back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me a second time here. And unfortunately, actually, I'm here, and yeah, I'm here to tell this story about my brother. But I also just suffered another loss because of the state's stressing and constant influence on my family's life. My mom, unfortunately, my mom just passed on Friday, and my mom never got to see the justice that Kalief should have deserved.
Right.
My mom passed of a heart attack. My mom's heart was literally broken by the state.
Of course.
By the city, and by what the Department of Corrections has done. And for now, I mean, it's not only claimed 2 people in my family, but the depression that's going through my household right now, my brother, I have now remaining 4 brothers, Kamal, Dion, myself, and Raheem. Actually 5, because then my oldest brother who's in California. But the depression from losing my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my brothers already now has been already, we're all on the watch for him because he's saying that he can't live like this. And I mean, who can? You lost your mom and you wasn't even supposed to, because you wasn't even supposed to lose your younger brother. But now, I mean, my mom's gonna be buried on Saturday, and we actually had a fight, but my mom's request to be buried with Kalief is being abided.
Of course.
And she will be buried on Saturday and put to rest with Kalief in the same plot. And that is my mother's request. She was a wonderful woman, I'm telling you. Everybody that met my mom has the same impression. She was just so open, and she had to be open. Look at this. She's adopted all of us. Kalief, myself, my sister, my brothers. My mom had 2 natural-born kids, and she adopted the rest of us. But she's foster cared 32 kids, and every one of our friends all the people that I've brought around and everyone that I can attest that met her and they don't even know me or my family, but just knows of the story and came to talk, like show my mom condolences after my brother passed. They all witnessed like a very open and respectful and loving person. Like my mom's no saint, no one's a saint.
No.
But you know what, my mom has openly loved and cared and showed openness to. And for her to be taken right now because of the fight that she's been doing, I mean, this is my mom's here. She's never left without it. And now I carry this. This is a Remember Kalief. My mom has been active constantly about my brother, and she would literally not do this for press, not for money, not for anything. She literally didn't want to forget her son, like the state had forgot him while sitting him in jail for 3 years, in jail for a book bag that he didn't even take. My brother, sorry.
No.
When you were here the last time, you spoke of your mother's heart condition and just how it had progressively gotten worse as a result of the initial contact that your brother had with the police when he was 16. I heard the news on the television on the weekend. Actually, I heard it Saturday. Saturday we buried Ken Thompson in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I knew Ken for some time. And when I got home, I heard the word that your mother had passed. So I am disturbed to hear that. And this is, families are suffering because of an inept, a heartless system wherein people are being denied their constitutional rights, their civil rights, losing their lives and losing family members. And this has to stop. It has to stop. I can't imagine your pain. I'm not going to say that I do. I can't. But it seems to be such that, well, that happened to this one. It happened, you know, people, it's not happening to them. But there has to be a concerted effort by the people in this city and across the country to look out for these types of situations. You know, the constant berating of a person in the press, talking about their criminal history, has nothing to do with a current matter. Your brother had never been in trouble. And he had gone out to a birthday party. And some cops picked him up and accused him of stealing a backpack.
And it was first night out, wasn't it? On his own.
This is what my mom suffered from, because the depression of knowing that you let your son out on the first chance and gave him a curfew of 11 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
My mom extremely blamed herself.
Of course.
My mom had to deal
Right,
with the fact
right,
that if she
right.
didn't let my brother out that time,
Right.
that she didn't,
That's
and
right.
I know my mom doesn't, like, shouldn't be blamed for that. She isn't to blame for that.
Right.
But realistically, this is what she fought with. I mean,
course.
she's fought a lot of, you know, my brother told me in the hospital, because my mom suffered 11 heart attacks in between 11 o'clock when she had her first heart attack. We found her slumped over in her bed and over the laptop. That was the first heart attack that we found, like around 11 o'clock, 10:30 actually.
This is all Friday.
Friday. And from 10:30 to Friday at 8:15 was her last heart attack. She suffered 11 of them. She is letting us know that she is heartbroken from 11 different heart attacks. And that's just in that one time, because she had one in September, late August. It was August like 29th. And she had to stay in the hospital for 2 weeks. My mom has my brother let me know and helped me understand, because after the sixth one, we're in ICU. I haven't left my mom's side at all the whole time, and constantly watching them beat on my mom's chest, constantly watching as she's like slipping more and more, because she's in a coma. She's becoming more brain dead because of the loss of the lack of oxygen. I wanted to stop it. Like, you see your mother suffering, you want to stop it. So my brother was like, "We're not," because mommy didn't give up on us. My mom surely never gave up on me, so we're not going to give up on her.
Right.
I mean, it took up into the 11th one that we really finally decided, like, enough is enough.
Let her go.
But it's not fair. Like, my mom was my friend. Like, I had to, my hangout spot was my mom's house. My mom would call me at 1, 3 in the morning to tell me about the poems that she would write. Cause like she just couldn't sleep. She was I have my mom's memoirs and my mom's poetry, my mom's diary, everything that she wrote constantly about this. Like, she lost sleep just as much as I did, and I wanted everyone to know that my mom was one of those mothers that she stayed by her kid's side, and if she couldn't, she was there in another way. Mm-hmm. So I'm really hurt that my brother had to go, and now my mom is gone, and there's no more fight left in me. There's no more fight. The fight that.
We're gonna fight with you. We're gonna fight with you.
And let me,
We're gonna fight with you.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, let's take a break and let's hear from your mother. All right? Hang in there, buddy. We're here with you. All right? We'll get justice. Come on. She wants us to fight. She gave the good fight.
we
Right?
continue to fight.
That's heavy, man.
When he came out, he was not the same. There was too much baggage he brought from Rikers with him. The memory of beatings, starvation. There was times when he wasn't even allowed to take a shower for 2 weeks. He was angry. He started getting real paranoid. And his life just spiraled from that. My name is Venita Browder, and I'm the mother of Kalief Browder. Kalief was on his way home. A police car stopped, and I'm assuming the guy who made the complaint was in the car and told the police that Kalief had robbed him of a backpack. Kalief kept saying, I don't know this guy, I didn't rob him. He was told that they were gonna just go to the precinct to kind of sort things out. Well, that sorting out took 3 years. We went to court, we had a legal aid. And the legal aid told me from the beginning that it was a BS case. He said, don't worry about it, it's a BS case. But meanwhile, my son is being held at Rikers. He would tell me things when I would visit him about being beat. He told me, Ma, I gotta fight. If I don't, they're gonna think I'm soft. I gotta fight. All it did for Kalief was get him in more trouble and more days in solitary. Imagine being locked up 23 hours a day. This is your life. 4 walls, that's it. He couldn't take it. They told him, we're gonna break you. That's what they told my baby, that they're gonna break him. And in reality, they did. At first, you could see he was relieved, that he was home, he could do what he wanted. He started Bronx Community, and he was doing okay, but then, I mean, he was really out of it, and he couldn't keep it up. He quit. He felt that everybody was out to get him. Everybody was a police plant. He stopped speaking to friends. He would get real angry. And then there were times where he would just, this look would come over him, and he would just like stare. It was a Saturday morning. It was just me and Kalief, and I hear him upstairs doing all this moving around, and I'm like, maybe Kalief is positioning the furniture to get comfortable. I didn't pay attention, because when Kalief is upset, he paces. Then all of a sudden, I heard this boom. I run upstairs. I didn't see anything. I ran into the next room, and the air conditioning cover was kicked out, and I just saw something hanging. I ran back downstairs, and as I opened the backyard door, Kalief was hanging there. I miss my son. I miss him so much.
No, I got it.
Welcome to the welcome back. Now, what we've just seen is exactly the pain. So we all witness and feel right with you, my brother. I mean, I can imagine if that was my mother and brother up there. You know.
I have to, at this point, like, it's a painful, I mean, thing to have to sit here, watch, and know that this type of atrocities and tragedies happen and collateral damages. And before I even say anything further, I'd just like to say to Kalief and to his family on behalf of the New York City Cape Coalition and other advocates that are doing criminal justice reform, that we express our most deepest condolences to you and your family, but also know that you are not alone, and I know that your pain is yours, but we also share your pain, and we be there for you and your family. And to know that what Akeem and his family, Kalief, and countless other people have endured and are enduring is really an outrage. I'm angry as hell right now, but I'm maintaining my anger, and to sit here and to watch this brother here go through what he's going through, that no other human being should have to go through.
That's right.
At the hands of our criminal and justice system, to know that these types of things are continuing to go on.
That's right.
And until we, as people, stand up, speak out, and do something about this, these types of things will continue to happen. And they should not be happening. We should not have to sit here and watch these atrocities continuously happening to our fellow human beings, because no matter why a person is where they are, the bottom line is they are still a human being, and they deserve to be treated with some humanity. And it's unfortunate that these things continuously happen. And as a result of that, not only do the people inside suffer, but the people outside suffer. Here's an example of the suffering that people go through. And it's just too much. And it's too much to continue to bear. So we the people, we have to make the change. And we're gonna be there with you to help you make this change. And I just want you to know that we with you, brother. We got you.
I just
Whatever we
like to
can.
say that watching your mother, I mean, that brings home the point. We've got a strong black woman there, and you can see it and feel it. For her to succumb to the pain that both of you are enduring, I mean, that's something. That's something for everybody should witness what the pain's going throughout, throughout the entire family, all right? And the public. I can feel it here. We all feel your pain, man. To be
I just want to ask something. When is enough enough? My family has suffered. Plenty of families across New York and the United States, we suffered. My mom, people can attest, even just watching her, the people in the neighborhood knows from her depression of losing Kalief, she would leave out the house because someone would pick her up to do an interview, maybe here or wherever she went to do interviews or press release or whatever for Kalief's movie, because she had to, because she was keeping up Kalief's fight, but everyone can attest she came right back home. She didn't want to leave that house because she kept on feeling like this is where Kalief was laid, like this is where Kalief passed. But I want to say, like, my mom, no matter how much I fought in the street, and I took to the street for Kalief, and I started the campaign to shut down Rikers, because I was outraged, and I was like, they took my brother. I can't believe I'm hearing all these stories about Emmett Till, Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland. I'm hearing all these stories, and then it came around full circle to my family. And I'm in this, and meanwhile I'm in the street with all these other people, and then it happens right there.
right at home.
Stops at my house and takes my brother. But no matter how much I fought, my mom, my mom was proactive. She did a lot of writing. She did a lot of writing. She wrote about the Constitution. She wrote about the system. And I remember one poem, my mom came out and she called me, like, I think it was like 1 something in the morning, and she's like, Akeem, I just got finished writing this. I want to tell you about it. And I remember I was watching a television show and I didn't really want to, like, hear it. So I'm like, okay, go ahead, Ma. Pause. And she's like, she tells me about the Constitution, and I cried over the phone like, Ma, the world needs to hear this, because I'm hearing this and it's just a poem, and I don't give in to poems, like.
Right.
But my mom wrote, in which I have, the poem that my mom wrote is so powerful that everyone. But we're already struck by powerful writings or powerful stories. We need more people to fight, to stand up and do what's right. When right is right and wrong is wrong. When has America stopped caring about the morality and started caring more about the politics of America? We don't need more laws and policies and procedures. No, we need change. Because I'm tired of crying for people being lost, and then when it comes to my family, everyone says, wow, Akeem, you're strong. I'm not strong. I pretended for everyone to know who Akeem is. I'm letting them know I pretended to be strong because my mom was crying every day. So I was like, you know what? I can't let her cry. I'm going to go to the street and fight. I'm going to give my mom something to fight for. And so I pretended to be strong. Now my mom is gone. There's no one for me to pretend for anymore. I wanted to keep up this fight because I thought my mom would just inevitably see justice. My mom, I fought for her to just try to find some peace or whatever. And the only peace she could find is not by some check that's coming from the state saying, hey, we took your brother or your son, here's this money. My mom didn't care about this money. My family knows my mom, even without money, she uses her credit cards whenever she needs it. She didn't care about money, she cared about her kids.
Right.
To adopt us kids and then force the 32 kids, you could tell she didn't care about money. She wanted her kids, she wanted people to have family. I told my brothers at this bedside that we are my mom's legacy. And that goes for anybody's family. Your mother holds together the family.
That's right.
And when your mother is taken, like I heard today, a 66-year-old woman taken.
Ladies.
In the Bronx, it was in the Bronx.
In the Bronx today.
Last night.
I mean, my mom was 63. And my mom is still here. I know it because she's in spirit with me.
Of course.
But she's not physically here with me. After seeing this video, just to hear my mom again, I'm hearing her voice and I'm like, fuck. Like,
yeah.
But I'll never hear my mom in person again. Never. And that's not fair. Like, she did not deserve to die. I could see, no, you know what? I can't see. Humanity is humanity. We are all flawed beings. I'm by no means perfect. This right here is Kalief's. Kalief didn't live old enough to be so imperfect that, you know, everybody either likes him or hates him, or some people don't. Kalief was only 16. Anything after that Kalief did, whether it be attitudes or hating the government or being what they call paranoid, you can't be paranoid when you have a police officer parked on the corner of your, or an unmarked car parked on the corner of your mother's house, and as soon as you step outside, you then see the car drive by and go like this.
This was happening after he got out of prison.
After he came out of prison, Kalief would come out the house, sit on the stoop in the green chair that my mom had on the corner of the stoop.
Yeah.
He would sit there, but as soon as he comes out, the car would then start up. And my mom called me one time because she was scared. What is this car doing? And I'm 7 minutes away from my mom's house. I'd rush there, and then one time while I was there, I witnessed this unmarked car would start driving off, and then as they passed my mom's house, they would do this motion, indicating, Kalief, we got you. But then on December 21st of 2014, Kalief was shot in the abdomen and sent to the same hospital that my mom just passed, St. Barnabas.
Wait.
How did he get shot in the abdomen?
You know what they said? They had no leads before 24 hours. Before 24 hours was even up, they came to my mom's house and said they have no leads, they have to drop the case. If that was a white person, and I'm not racist, but if that was a person in a better community, they would not close that case before 24 hours. And Kalief said, because he called for me in the bed, everyone, when I came into the hospital, they held him with cuffs in the bed while he's shot in the abdomen because he was irate. Well, if I got shot, I'm paranoid too. And especially when they're always going around, and he said it was a white person that shot him. My mom's neighborhood is blacks and Hispanics.
Right.
Black and brown skinned people, to have a white person shoot you, you're probably a cop or somebody that doesn't belong in my mom's neighborhood.
Right.
But he got shot. And then
Why were they after your brother?
because my brother has a lawsuit, and he was smart, because my brother's smart, because he knew the names of every officer that beat him. So he attested
While he
to
was
it.
in custody.
While he was in DOC in Rikers, whether in solitary
Do you have
confinement.
this list?
So your attorney has that
Yes,
information.
it's in the lawsuit.
Okay.
The officer that we seen in the video.
So you have some idea of who shot him?
No.
No.
But you know there may be people that
But I
were
know that
involved.
I know that the officer Van Grisham, I don't know how to pronounce his name, don't care to pronounce his name right, but he knew his name, and I would want to assume, because I don't know it's the truth, but he or who else that Kalief knew and that named in his lawsuit, I know that at that point they probably said this kid is trouble. Because for you to get the tapes on Rikers, you have to know the dates on that it happened.
So they can get
So
them.
And the
Kalief
time.
knew the dates and time so there was like, this kid is too smart. He's jeopardizing us. And so they killed my brother. And the day that he died, we came over the house, obviously,
Right.
got his phone, because the night before, my mom Kalief went downstairs and he had texts on his phone. We warned you, we warned you. 2 different texts from an unknown number saying, we warned you, we warned you. We don't know who that number's coming from because it says unknown. But on top of that, the third thing, Kalief's Facebook account, whom he's written to me because he didn't like his phone because he felt somebody was tapping his phone, listening to him. He broke the TV in my mom's house because he said, don't turn a channel like 2 News or whatever news he didn't like, because he's like, they're watching me. That might be paranoid, but his phone, he would write me on Facebook Messenger.
Was he on medication?
They had him on medication.
Okay.
And
You know the
before I
type of
get to that,
Hold on.
before I get to that, the messages on his Facebook account, period, not just Facebook Messenger, but Facebook, period.
Okay.
It looked like they wiped it, and it looked like he just started it that day. How did he get wiped? And even the messages I wrote him, because we talked on Facebook Messenger,
right.
none of them are there. Everything's wiped clean, as though he never had a conversation, as though he just started Facebook that morning and then killed himself. But to answer your question, which was, I'm sorry.
Like medication.
Yes. So the medication he was on, which It starts with an R. I don't remember the name.
Ritalin?
Not Ritalin.
Not Ritalin.
It's a depression, antidepressant, but it's said to not be given between the ages of 11 and 21 because it has a 17% suicide rate. And they've been giving it to him from Rikers and then all the way till he came out, because while he was out, officers in his school tried to arrest him on some BS case about being in a fight in school. So, Kalief, obviously, you put a cop in front of him after he suffered and you put him in gladiator school. Rikers is commonly denoted as gladiator school. You put an officer in front of him, and he's been a gladiator for the last 3 years. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to fight. So, in school, if you get in an argument, why do you need an officer to stop it? It's a verbal altercation. It's not a fist fight. When they play with words to the public to make you think that it's something extreme, when it's really, I mean, literally you can be a sex offender for having your pants low, because then they'll arrest you and put it under a sex offense. Now you're a sex offender. So titles we got to be careful with.
Okay.
But that's just to say, when Kalief, and they said he had a fight, it was a verbal altercation. They just used titles to make it more glorious. And then they arrested him, put him in an asylum in the Bronx, and for him to come out, because he also attempted suicide when he was home. So it's in his jacket now, and for him to get out of there, he had to take this medication.
That's what I was getting to.
So you also have a suit against the New York State Department of Mental Health.
Yes. Yes.
For prescribing that, not counting what the DOC was doing. Your lawyer has a lot of work to work with. Fortunately, we're going to talk about the phone later. We're not going to talk about that on air.
Well, just so everyone knows, my mom has passed now, and there's an altercation now going on, or a complication, because Sandy Rubenstein has been wanting to get in on this case, which I don't know if everyone here knows or everyone home knows. Sandy Rubenstein has been killing black families, destroying black families since the beginning. This dude literally came to a rally that I did just recently to close Rikers, and came to this march that we started in Brooklyn and said, I represent Black Lives Matter. And I got irate because not only just for the fact that I know who you are, and you come into my family trying to break us up with money. He said, with me, I'll get your family way more money than Paul Prestia, who's our current attorney. At 11, when Kalief came home, we went to 11, myself and Kalief went to 11 different attorneys, and they turned him down, saying the same method of verbiage, that you have no case, they were right to do what they did. 11 different civil attorneys told him this. 11 different civil attorneys. I went to Paul Prestia because he represented me back in 2009 on a case that he settled and sued for, and we got a settlement for. In that, I went to Paul and I said, I don't know what to do. I know you're a criminal attorney. He took Kalief in right there. Then all of a sudden, all these other idiots came around saying, oh, I didn't know it was this case, and come on.
After all of the evidence presented.
Why would they turn you down?
Because I have a feeling that the state got to them and said, do not represent him.
All right.
They didn't think I was going to go to a criminal attorney who then turned his firm to a civil attorney representation. He's a criminal attorney. He represents as a criminal attorney, but he turned it to a civil. But to top it off, Rubenstein, as my mom this Friday was supposed to get settlement. This Friday, just 2 days from now. 2 days, right? Today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
2 days from now, she's supposed to get settlement, and now she's gone. Rubenstein hasn't been the attorney on record until my mom now passed, because it's not.
How do you do that?
Because the estranged father, so the estranged husband, he's been away from the family for 15 years. And so now he's technically the administrator because he's technically the husband. My mom just, by the time this lawsuit, no one knew Kalief was going to take his life, so she didn't get the divorce, and it's been 15 years, so there's no foresight to think that this guy was going to come around and now glorify himself as, I'm the husband. You were the husband 15 years. You haven't even shown your face. But now Rubenstein wants to come around because he smells money, and he knows a black family. Black people take money like that. When it comes to money, he knows I can throw a number out there, and he thinks that he's so popular because basically we have the backing and support. You know, Jay-Z, the rapper, he's now the producer on the show, backed by, you know, Harvey Weinstein. He's also back in the movies.
It's the upcoming documentary.
For the documentary series. Okay. So we have a fight now, a literal fight in which almost ended my mom's burial that's happening this Saturday, because I'm not going to allow certain things, because my mom had it written. She spoke to everybody. I'm sure she probably even indicated to you guys when she spoke that she wants to be buried with her son whom she loved. Right. And so this is now taken care of. It's finalized. Kalief will be my mom will be buried Saturday at Maple Grove Cemetery in New Jersey. Okay. With Kalief at the same plot. So that's my brothers and my sister. We're satisfied. She's getting what she wants. She had the casket she asked for. She literally was on text with me and my sister and sent us a picture of the casket and said, this is what she wants. And we were like, oh, that's real nice, Ma, but don't worry about that. Because who?
Yeah, you know.
I mean, even though we know Kalief was suffering, we didn't know he was going to take his life. Had I known, I mean, I beat myself because I was literally driving to my mom's house when I got the call. And I'm like, I broke every law driving. I was driving on the opposite side of the street because I needed to get there to save him to stop. Like, because I didn't know it went that far. Like, it's actually done. Like, he hung himself. I thought, let me get there as soon as possible. I'll stop him, because that's what always happened. I would get a call, Kalief's missing. I'd find him because I know my brother. I'd find him, and Kalief's literally walking and depressed and whatever. And I'd take him on long drives down Pelham Parkway, and just, he'll fall asleep in the car, like, because he just needed comfort or someone to talk to. And so this time wasn't the same, or that time wasn't the same.
So going back to the inception of this nightmare, he's accused of having stolen a backpack. D.A. Johnson, at that time, lets this case roll for 3 years. There's not even a trial. He had no prior criminal history. He was charged with a robbery.
Robbery in the third.
In the third
no,
degree.
No, burglary in the third. No, I'm sorry, robbery in the third.
Robbery in the third. 16 years old, first offense, and they gave $3,000 bail.
That's actually the 10%.
That should have been a death appearance, right?
That's actually the 10% of the
10% of 30,000 bail, and the DA never presented a case, and the judge in the case let this go on for 3 years.
You know who the judge in the case is?
Who is the judge?
The New Bronx DA. DA Clark.
She was the judge?
Was the judge on my brother's case, in which, I gotta say, she's been on, I called her office a week prior to my mom passing just last week. She set up a meeting for me to meet her, and then her attorney even called me to say, you know, it's not about anything, you know, I know there's a case ongoing, and your mom has implicated the judge, D.A. Clark, who's now D.A. Clark.
Right.
And I said, no, I understand that. I just wanted to have a sit down and have a face-to-face with her. And so they said they was going to schedule it for Wednesday last week, the week that my mom passed, right? Never got a call. They said they're going to confirm. The attorney himself called me for the state of New York, for D.A. Clark. Said, you know, there's procedure on how these things happen, blah, blah, blah. And I speak for her, so I need to know that this isn't about the case. And if you're actually on the lawsuit, we can't talk to you because it's conflict of interest. I said, no, I'm not. My mother is, so I understand my mom can't be there, but I myself would like to have a sit down with her, just as a meet and greet even. And
Right.
this DA said, or the attorney said he'll schedule it for Wednesday, but let me confirm it. Never got that confirmation. You couldn't even do a solid for the family that you put through torture to just sit down and meet with the people that you are representing. You represent the state, the district that you're representing in that court. And you kept my brother in jail, yet you can't have 5 minutes to keep yourself in a seat and talk with me?
You mean to tell me that she actually knew the circumstances of this? As a judge, she ruled to put him back into Rikers?
Darcy, right? Darcy Clark. Bronx
This is what you're
DA
telling
who was brought up in the Bronx,
Soundview.
in Soundview. Yet she got she didn't only become, she didn't only be the judge, but she got promoted. She got promoted. So you got a promotion on doing this to black young men. What is she going to do now as a DA? I mean, as a judge, you just damaged at the very least, young man's life. But
And
you
a
know
whole
she
family.
sees thousands of cases.
The whole family.
Yeah. Oh, at the very least. At the very least. But she's, besides this family, she's damaged thousands of cases.
Tell me how we can help.
Realistically, I've gotten a lot of calls. There's enormous amount of people. I've probably gotten at least 300 to 400 calls since my mom's passed and since the world, or at least New York. Not even New York. I've gotten calls outside of New York to say, condolences, we want to come there, and how can we help? All of that's appreciative. I gotta say, I don't know how help can come about because my mom's now gone. The only thing I can
Yeah, what
ask
do you
is,
do? Yeah.
don't pretend that we're strong, because my brothers, myself, my sister are depressed. So maybe offering counseling, maybe,
Okay.
you know, when the funeral is happening, don't allow press to be there snapping pictures so that they can get the hot story, because that's what the problem is. The news covers hot stories, and then you're in one day and out the next. So if I was getting arrested, I'd be made topic of the news as an animal, and then go on to the next case. But what happens when I'm released from Rikers and they say, oh, got the wrong person, like Kalief? Most people don't get Kalief's kind of publicity. So how can they help? Maybe, you know what? Let's start caring for one another when we need to come. The people have the power as a voice. If we can get together, we have the power to say what we want done, regardless if we have a senator that doesn't care, that doesn't care about us, regardless if we have politicians. No, you know what? If the people band together, what can they do? They got to say, you know what? Let's hear them. Let's give them a platform, and not just give them a platform, because we're tired of just lip service.
Yeah, so no,
Well,
Sorry, I'm talking
All right,
about
let me do this. I have Perez, another clip on Perez, and I want to show them what you're fighting against solitary confinement. Isn't that one of your
One of the
causes?
things. He's
So
part of the
let's show
mass
them
collaborative.
a little bit more about solitary confinement and what it does to the mind and to the body.
So we are here today to raise awareness about the torture of solitary confinement. And we have more than 220 people as part of the campaign for alternatives to isolated confinement from all across the state to come to push our legislators and our governor to pass the Halt Solitary Confinement Act, humane alternatives to long-term solitary, so that we can end the torture of solitary confinement in New York and create more humane and effective alternatives. In addition to the event that we have this morning, we will be meeting with 98 legislators throughout the course of the day. We have a replica solitary confinement cell in the lobby of the LOB. We have writings and poems and drawings and origami from people who are currently in solitary confinement in New York. Over 90 people sent us a creative piece of themselves to share with our policymakers and with the press and the public, so that we can all get some small sense of what it might
when someone is subjected, and I know you've all looked at, to have to live in a box, essentially, like this, what do you create when you let them out? And we often talk a lot about, people are concerned about the high recidivism rate and what happens to individuals who come from those facilities and go back into our communities. Well, you can almost be guaranteed that they're not going to go in there and come out better. And so the measure of a country's humanity is often judged by what they do with those who have fallen in the grips of its criminal justice system. And so this particular technique of managing individuals who are incarcerated has existed for a long time, and it needs to end. And that's what the message is today, that it needs to end and that it can end.
We are all morally responsible as long as it exists, whether we are for it or not. As long as it exists, we must all assume that we are a part of the crisis until we end this here bad mark on our public policy and on our public responsibility to humanity.
You have to speak life into kids. You got to give them an outcome. It's not you've been a kid before. You've been a kid before. You can't. It ain't a person in this world that hasn't done something that will cause somebody to either lock them up or shun them. So I just want them to hear me. I really want them to hear me. I want them to hear my voice. I don't want them. I just want them to hear me. I just want them to hear me. So they can hear my kids and see them. Because if they don't hear me, they won't see my kids.
Welcome back. That's what we're fighting, this solitary confinement. I see the two of you are on the forefront of stopping this torture. That's all it is.
And I'd just like to quickly, as an organizer for the Campaign for Alternatives to Isolated Confinement and advocate for passage of the HALT bill, Humane Alternatives to Long-Term Solitary Confinement, along with Kalief, along with Akeem and a host of other advocates and stuff, we're also part of a larger coalition that's called Challenging Incarceration, which is actually made up of about 40+ organizations that are doing work around various components of criminal justice reform. And every month, on the 23rd, we have what we call our monthly speak-outs. This Sunday, the 23rd, we're going to be in Brooklyn at the Brooklyn Public Library, Grand Army Plaza. Okay. And we do these speak-outs. We probably have a few legislators come and also speak and talk about solitary confinement as torture. And we are at this particular point in time that we've been screaming and hollering and protesting and marching and speaking and giving all types of examples of things that are happening to people in our prisons and jails and the inhumanities and abuses that they suffer. How much longer can we, the people, continue to allow these things to go on? And it's not like the information is not out there. The information's right here. It's right here. It's in your face. You hear about it. Look, it's right here. You know what's going on. So how can you continue to allow these laws to be in place that are imposing suffering around human beings? So this is why we have to get out, like Akeem said, and do something. Don't sit around and do nothing when you know it's wrong. You have a personal and a moral responsibility to right the wrongs. And that's what we're saying. Be a part of something, because if you are not part of the solution, then you are definitely a part of the problem.
The laws are actually the ones that, the laws are now what we're finding, the things that's actually helping to victimize the people.
Right, right.
So we have to start indicting the system. We have to start in showing its incriminating. I mean, we've already started showing the incriminating evidence that the system is abusing the people.
Right.
Since when have we become a group of people that we just sit back and let the law or let anyone? I mean, if you saw Kalief being abused
Yeah.
while he had handcuffs on,
Right.
you
Yeah.
saw he got abused by people, I mean, by those officers beating him. But if that was in the street and that was your kids, you would say that's child abuse or assault or
Definitely
gang
assault.
violence. But when it happens to someone in jail, it's okay.
He must have done something. He must have
Or he
said
must have
something
done
to the
something.
officer to
Or he
provoke
must
the
have been
officer.
mouthing off.
And you know what? We've been making excuses.
And mouthing off is not a crime.
No, it's not. I could tell an officer anything I want. Well, I can mouth off my and say F you. But an officer would throw me against the car in which it happened.
Right.
I have 2 lawsuits right now against the state of New York. I've been because I was arrested for marching, and I was found not guilty. So now I'm suing them
For marching.
for marching. I have 2. One on November 25th, 4 days before my birthday. One on January 5th, of just last year, of 2015.
What were
But
you marching for?
for justice for Kalief.
Okay. All right.
But in regards to all this, I really feel there's a need for us to stop asking. I mean, we've
Okay.
asked,
Yeah.
as he said, we've cried, we've pleaded, begged, marched, yelled, everything any verb that you can say, we've done. And now, mothers are lost, lost lives, or fathers and sons are sent to prison where now they're lost.
Right.
What the city of New York or people in the United States are doing is saying, well, they did it to themselves. All you have to do is abide by whatever the officer says, and you'll go home. No, you won't. Sandra Bland did.
Good luck with
Right.
that.
I mean, you have the right to mouth off. I mean, this is somebody's family that you know them personally. And you're going to say, wait a minute, well, all she had to do or all he had to do is just do what the officer says. Well, we have so many examples of people doing what the officer says and then still getting shot in the back, shot 8 times.
You know, for your attorney, real quick, what you're going through, others have gone through 40 years ago. We had an assemblyman in Brooklyn, and I'm trying to remember his name. His face is in my mind, but he had a brother who was a detective. He caught a bank robber. They were fighting in the street. The blue and whites rolled up. To save the white man, they shot the black man. The black man was the detective. And they saved the bank
I
robber.
remember that.
He had 3 brothers. One was an assemblyman. One was so depressed as a result of his brother being killed, he committed suicide. A second brother became an alcoholic behind the loss of the brother. This is a historic pattern. And I'm going to get the name of that assemblyman because maybe your attorney can use it. Because these are events, they're not isolated events. There is a consistent pattern running through the decades. For your brother who is depressed, there is a psychiatrist in the Bronx. I want to get his name for you. He's a brother. And he should get the counseling as soon as possible. There's a 13-year-old boy I'm talking to now from last week. They were here last week, the Lopez family.
Oh, man.
All right? He also depressed by his father's death. The mother depressed. This is criminal in behavior. It is a consistent pattern. One of the things
I call it planned genocide.
we have
It
to go
seems to be.
into the state legislature to have the law changed. The affirmative action for the police officer has to be taken off the books. When he says, I was afraid, so I killed somebody. Different type of scenario. But our legislators, we're going to have to start going after them to have the laws changed, to have these atrocities identified and the guilty parties placed in prison.
They need
30
to kill.
seconds.
The
we're
service
about
is
to
Saturday.
Close.
Yes.
Let us know. You know you're always welcome back here anytime you care to. You have something to say. So this is an open invitation anytime you're ready. And please come back, whatever
let 'em get the
challenges you
Service
have.
Saturday.
You just give services.
So my mom's burial is going to be on Saturday. The services is going to be held at West End Funeral Home in the Bronx on East Gun Hill Road. It's going to be the wake there, starting at 9 o'clock is when the family's going to get there, and I hope everyone respects and understands that yes, you take to my mom's funeral, to my mom's death, but allow the family to at least have a peaceful send my mom away peacefully without distraction from many. But we all know that you all loved my mom, and you all understood that my mom played a major role in this fight. But after that, the burial is going to be at Maple Grove Cemetery in New Jersey.
And with that, thank you for coming to the Gilchrist Experience. The God in me loves the God in you, and stay tuned for more exposure. Power to the people.